And I just remind me, like, I want to learn how to be someone that cranks out content at like unbelievable rates. I get pointed out sometimes for like, yo, I can't keep up with stuff, but like, I'm not where I want to be. I'm just like, like shoving so much behavior analytic content out in the world. Um, and so this, like, I'm hoping by the end of the year, I've learned how to do those things. And part of that is really focusing on the community who's listening and incorporating them as much as we possibly can. I have I have so much to learn, I think, on like how do you really, like, the folks that are listening to this, like, how can we all like make this thing collectively as successful as possible? And like an example of that would be um, in the video realm last year, I had posted that we were going to have like a 20-hour layover in Beirut in Lebanon, myself and Megan Miller, when we were over traveling. And I had an email the next morning in my inbox with someone that had grown up there, was a behavior analyst, since came over to the States for about 20 years, and said, I know everyone that's doing things over there. If you'd like, I'd like to just have them pick you up from the airport, show you everything you need to see in those 20 hours. And like that was stuff where that's a perfect example of like, if I can create something that's useful for them, but they can also help me out in those senses, right? Like if we can work together and somehow like showing this world like what we got to offer, like that'd be so cool. So it led to a great experience for me, and it also led to them being able to get some, in that case, like some video work that can demonstrate what it is that they're about, what they're doing, that they can host up on their site. And I don't know, it'll most videos live for 24 48 hours, but it'll be on their site and maybe do them well over the next year. And those are the sort of things that the more I'm learning, I'm really interested in learning on the cultural level, right? Like this small cultural level of behavior analysis, which I feel so extremely lucky to be able to like have the opportunity to work with. And I feel like a lot of behavior analysts struggle with that, myself included. I'm like, it's company culture is a good example. Anyone who's struggling with building their company culture, it's I think an area where we lack largely are the skill sets to be able to be effective, and like we don't know how to necessarily train it when it comes to grad school. Not to mention there's a lot of things to train already, um, but it's something I want to take away from this. Like look back and be like, hey, I kind of figured out part of the system, on how to work with a community, on creating really valuable content in this case.
Yeah, the community thing is my thing. I think because I don't I have a small community here here in Ohio. Like I have, and we're tight knit. I mean, in all fairness, Dr. Holland's like built a group of people who we work great together, and they're wonderful behavior analysts and are like-minded people. But there's only 3 or 4 of us, and I don't meet a lot of other BAs that I get along with. Like I told you before, I do have kind of that challenge connecting with people that are more on that interventionist end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Really looking forward to tackling or connecting with people that are more in the community, that are more philosophically minded, a little bit more interested in bigger problems, a little more interested in creating that kind of sense of connectedness that I feel like is lacking sometimes in the field, or just lacking in general in human services. So, in education. So yeah, the community piece is going to be a big thing for me too. I want to meet some people and learn. Learning is going to be a big piece across the board. I feel like the more I learn, the less I know. And it's always been one of my things. One of my life credos is, before I die, I want to be able to say that I learned as much as humanly possible in the amount of time that I had.
Yeah.
I want to hoard knowledge, like that's I'm Smeagol, that's my precious, and I want to hold that. Yeah, I want to eat it all. And this, I think, will be a chance to explore that. And I think an opportunity to sit down and talk to some some big minds that do have a lot of exposure and knowledge and experience will be pretty cool. But I also think a little bit of healthy debate is going to be positive too.
Yeah.
I learn, again, like I said before, for me, I'm super competitive. So I learn through combat. I don't know how else to put that. You know, for me, learning is it's war, man. It's a war exercise. It's back and forth. It needs to be critical. It needs to be challenging. It needs to kind of have an emotional bend to it so that it's sticky for me. I'm not the kind of person who just learns from reading. I'm the kind of person who has to read and scream at the book while I'm reading it so that I'll remember it later, because I'll remember that moment my blood pressure spiked.
Some sort of like hack on state dependent learning.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So and again, not that that's the goal here, but I mean, like, I want to have engaged discussion. I love that. I thrive on it. And, I'm Greek, man. That's what we do. We pontificate. We sit in coffee houses and talk shit to each other all day.
Yeah.
So it's going to be the best thing. It's going to be super fun, and it's going to be a great way to kind of express ourselves.
For the record, I'm done trying to make y'all comfortable. For the record, you ain't trying to grow, then it's done for you. For the record, lab on me going all the way. For the record, ain't trying to link, no time to waste.